Based upon recent stories in the Herald Mail, the Democratic Party in Washington County is having a resurgence. Years ago, the Democrats controlled Washington County elected positions. However, that changed in the 1990s. And are the Democrats making a comeback? What do you think, Ashley?
I think we need to backtrack here and take a look at what was going on in Washington County in the 1990s. Keep in mind that in the early 90s, the Valley Mall was built.
Actually, that was the 70s.
That was 70s.
In the 70s, but the remodeling of the Valley Mall was in 92.
Valley Mall Part 2.
Correct. We had several large commercial properties developed, several strip malls developed throughout Washington County.
And you're crediting the Democrats for that?
The downtown bottomed out, which means that all of a sudden we had loads and loads of vacant space that were incredibly underutilized and desperate landlords. And then all of a sudden we had a bunch of people filling up those spaces that were on government subsidies, which were largely Republican or Democrat. I think that in terms of the loss of the control of the Democrats in Washington County in the 1990s, it was purely a result of rural development in the outlying areas and then the influx of government-dependent individuals into our urban areas. And I think that's an entirely different story as to why the Democrats are making a comeback now here in Washington County. I think when you consider the opportunities in Washington County as it stands, we outprice Frederick County in terms of real estate. We have had recent developments within our interstate system, which makes Washington County a more convenient place for commuters. So I think that folks like me who operate businesses in Baltimore and DC find Washington County as a desirable place to live. But by and large, folks like me are educated within the liberal arts curriculum. We've run businesses in urban areas for the past decade or 2 decades. We have a higher level of education. Therefore, we are liberal. And I think that we are invading. And watch out before we bite you and infect you with all of our liberal goodness.
I know many.
Are you going to be a fast zombie, Ryan Miner, or are you going to be a slow zombie? You know, some people find one more terrifying than the other.
Yeah, I think what you just said was terrifying. But I'll let Tom talk because he's a Democrat and I'm a libertarian Republican. And I'll save my comments for.
There is such a thing.
Yeah.
You're libertarian.
There is now.
There is now, I guess. Yeah, I thought that was another whole
He's
thing
a minor.
altogether, this Libertarian Party.
It's true.
He's a minor.
But no, I mean, I think I haven't been here as long. See, I don't know all the history. I've been here 3.5 years.
The city of Hagerstown has consistently been the 70s, been primarily Democratic.
Yes, I knew the history in the rough regards there. But since I've been here, you know, I read this and I said, huh? You know, I'm very involved in Democratic politics here, but
you're one of the good guys.
There were a lot of things we're trying to do just to create dialogue and everything. However, you know, we have 5 Republican county commissioners.
Yeah.
We lost the lone Democrat on the legislative, you know,
and
delegation to
well, he lost that for himself.
Well,
with all due respect to the Herald Mail, I'm not sure it's going to be an easy job to get it back next term.
No, I don't think so.
But let me say this.
You know,
I don't think, you know, when you look at what you would call the extremes, right and left, I'm not sure that we have, maybe on the right a little more, but on the left, I don't know that we have a lot of extreme left type people here. I think there are a lot of Republicans like me that are so close to the center that we could probably register in either party and find.
But I think that Washington County also had the biggest display of Tea Party protests. And actually, Washington
County. Well, I said we may have
some
some extremists on the right.
Well, perhaps that was part of the reason why several former members of the Republican Party started to think twice about their affiliation.
Well, I have no doubt about that. But I think when those people go to the voting booth, when I go to the voting booth, I don't always vote for the Republican.
I'm calling the Tea Party fools. Yes, I am.
I don't always vote for the R. Okay, I don't. All right. We talked off camera about our current Congressman, Mr. Delaney, and I got to tell you, I voted for him.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, I think he's a good guy.
I mean, let's face it, I say this as a like I said, a libertarian Republican. John Delaney's been bipartisan. He's worked with, he made a comment, I remember at the chamber, I'll never forget it. He was at a chamber breakfast and he said, the reason why I work so well with Republicans is because I don't go after them, I don't attack them. And he works with them, and John's a policy guy. I've met John several times. I like him personally, and I think he's doing a great job. But as far, to answer the question of the segment, are Democrats in Washington County making a resurgence? I don't think they are. I mean, you look at the last election, we lost, or the Democrats lost the District 2B to Brett Wilson, and you know, the longtime delegate that was in the city.
Right.
He finally lost. We have 5 Republican county commissioners who are all fairly conservative.
Right.
And we have, of course, Neil Parrott, Senator Serafini. These guys are conservatives. Chris Schenck was a conservative.
Yes.
I think one of the only elected officials in this, 2 elected officials are Democrats. That's our clerk of courts, which I really don't even think should be a partisan attachment. And then you have Sheriff Doug Mullendore, who's a Democrat.
Well, you have Todd Hershey.
And Todd Hershey.
You know, I got to
You
tell you,
have Justin Malone.
I don't think that the resurgence of the Democratic Party has nearly as much to do with politics as I think that you're thinking. I don't think that it will necessarily be reflected in who won, because we're talking about 17%
The big
of the
story
voter
really is the growth of the independents
It has
who
to
do
do
not vote in the primary.
It
Yeah.
has to do
And they
with
should
the
open these
economy,
primaries.
folks. It has nothing to do with who actually shows up to the polls. That's super nominal in terms of the actual
But does it have
growth
to
of
do with the
demographics
fact,
in this area.
you know, if you look at nationally the politics, we are listening. You know, the people that get the microphone in national politics are mainly the extremists.
Right.
And I think, in my heart of hearts, I believe there are a lot more people that are in the center, and they might call me a rhino or a
lot,
Dino
I think this
or
is
whatever.
a lot simpler than
I'm okay
than
with
You know
folks
who
are
in
thinking.
Washington County, they really, the Democrats here, they have some really great Democrats. A former panelist, Elizabeth Paul, I think she's fantastic. Elizabeth is a thoughtful person. I think the world of Donna Brightman. Donna Brightman's a Democrat. She's the president of our school board. Donna has done a tremendous job, and in policy, there's nobody could touch Donna in policy. I think the world of her. And there's also, you know, there's many Democrats who run for office. Heck, I like Ron Bowers. I grew up with Ron Bowers, and when he was here in the 90s.
Ashley, you're
and
just
80s.
dying to say something, please.
Yes.
No, I'm just, this is a pointless conversation. We're talking about political candidates rather than the populace, and I thought that's what this question was all
okay.
about.
Good point.
There are really, you know, the numbers in voter registration. In the last 6 years, the Democrats are the ones who have lost their percentage of the total.
Yeah.
The only ones. The ones, they've gone up 25%, the independents. The Republicans are about 6.5%. The Democrats lost.
Who gives a crap? We're talking about 17% of the population in this area actually shows up to the polls.
That's the
Amen.
main issue.
Let's talk about what is actually going
That's the
on, which is
main
a
issue.
shift in disposable income, a shift in average family income, average household income. All these things are changing. They're changing for the better because business owners and entrepreneurs and professionals from Frederick, from Baltimore, from Washington are finally figuring out, hey, it makes all the sense in the world for me to buy a house in Hagerstown. The economy is rebounding enough so that anybody can be approved for a $200,000 mortgage.
So
Not
you're
everyone
saying
can be
we're
approved for a
importing-
$400,000 mortgage. Guess how many $200,000 mortgages we have available in Hagerstown? It's worth the
That
community.
doesn't mean there's a resurgence of Democrats.
Yes, it does, because
It doesn't mean that at
Yes, it
all.
absolutely
How
does.
do you correlate that data?
I correlate that data
The
by actually
Republicans are in
knowing the
office,
data
Ashley.
of the average income level and the
How
actual.
does that
we have
correlate
more of a
logically? That
resurgence-
doesn't make any sense.
Shut your mouth so I can tell you.
Okay.
So we have more of a resurgence of people in this area that are registered professionals in the creative arts.
See,
by
we
and large,
Republicans
people
are
like
the
graphic
non-rudes.
designers,
Okay, yeah. Well, we
people
have
like
to wrap
graphic.
this up I
well,
think,
you
at
know
this
what?
point, yeah.
We
That's
Republicans
fine.
are not the rude ones on the panel.
I think our next topic could be very interesting if we talk about,
I'm done with this crap.
we talk about the winners of the Republican debate that we recently saw. So stay with us, I'm sure it's going to be fun.